Be happy, happy.
Be happy.
Be happy, Mommy. Be happy, Mommy.
Come on, keep your chin up. Enjoy this time.
Smile.
Smile, smile, my darling.
Honey, you gotta count your blessings.
Welcome to Creative Mamas Unplugged. We are your hosts. I'm Cherice Barton.
And I'm Shelly Hutchinson. Creative Mamas Unplugged is a podcast where we navigate the hell out of being a creative mom with humor and heart.
We will have honest conversations,
Hear wise words from fellow badass mamas.
and share hilarious stories around motherhood for some much-needed comic relief. Listen, motherhood is the most creative, most difficult job in the world. You are not alone, and you deserve to be happy.
My self-reliance has gotten me a long way, and I always know it's right for everyone and for myself. And so to let go of that and just trust, I mean, for you to let go of trying to fix my situation when dog was actually the solution, you know what I mean? Is kind of, even on a smaller scale. I bought this projector a couple of weeks ago.
That is the biggest boss move, for you to just go get a fucking projector and decide that you're going to do that and bring that in for the girls. I mean, that's such a badass move, not like a TV, not like a thing. I mean, that is amazing.
I didn't realize how big it was until I got home. And then I was like, oh my God, it's so big. It barely fits in the room. And my daughter had been so excited about it. And so I really wanted to do this for her. We were trying to set it up. She kept saying, Mom, let me try. And I'd be like, no. Don't, you're going to break it. Don't do it. Right. And so I was reading the instructions and I almost started crying because everything, I just didn't know. And I was like, let me just read the instructions. Anyway, in the meantime, while I'm trying to read these instructions, and again, with the brain fog, I had to keep going back and starting again from the beginning. And I was looking at all the outlets and I didn't know what was what. I was like, I think I'm missing pieces. And I was just at the verge of tears looking through it. And all of a sudden I look over and she had completely set it up on her own. She just put this thing in here and this one in here. And she just set the remote control and I had turned it on.
That is unbelievable.
And I had multiple times been like, don't touch it. I've got it. I've got the control.
Got it. Right.
It's wild.
She's wired to figure that out.
Yeah. So I'm just going to let her do that from now on. I was nervous because I was like, you're going to break it. And I just spent a lot of money on it. And,
And also true, 100%. Yeah, for sure. It's like when they want to chop the cucumbers with the butcher knife, you're like, you're going to chop the fucking finger.
Yeah,
there's a good chance that's going to happen. It's a chance. It might have broken, rightfully so, for you to be concerned about that. Huge. So now, how's the projector? You guys watching movies and
Yeah, it's super fun. It's a portable one, so we can bring it from room to room. So, that's the great part about it, is we can just wherever we want to set up. And when we have sleepovers, we might go in the living room and all the kids lie on the floor and they set up their little bed on the floor and watch a movie. And yeah, it's really fun. It's fun. It feels like movie night at home. So yeah.
Like a legit movie night.
A legit movie. Yeah. Cause it's a big screen. So yeah, really fun. Yeah. Can you tell a story about Atlantic City?
I'd like to share. My husband and I just celebrated 15 years, and
happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. And we, never do anything for that celebration, 5, 10, 15, none of it. We've never gone away. We've never really done anything. So he was like, let's go to Atlantic City. I'm like, we love Atlantic City. Let's go to Atlantic City. And it's 2.5 hours from, not even an hour 45, something like that. Anyway, he was like, we could stay at the Water Club or the Borgata or the Golden Nuggets, a little bit cheaper. I'm like, well, what's the price difference? He's like, it's $100. I'm like, I'm not sure. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's our 15th year anniversary. I'm negotiating between the Water Club and Borgata and the Golden Nugget. Can I please get a grip? Let's, wherever you want, please. So we have this plan, we don't have family here. So we decided to take the boys to my mom and my brother's, which is and my sister-in-law's Eastern Shore of Maryland. For those of you that might be on the West Coast, there is a ferry that goes from Cape May, New Jersey to Rehoboth, Delaware. And it's a 90-minute boat ride. And it's really beautiful and it's really fun. And you put your car on the boat. So we decided to drive down to, what did we do? We drove to my brother's house, my mom's house in this area, which is like 4 hours. We drive there. We drop the boys off. We take the ferry from Delaware with our car over to Atlantic City. We have maybe like 15 hours there. And then the next day, the plan was to take the boat back from Cape May. So after we get off at Cape May, New Jersey, we drive to Atlantic City, drive back to the boat, take the boat back to Rehoboth, Delaware, on Sunday morning. So we do that. We've had maybe 15, 18 hours at this, in Atlantic City. We have a great time. We get back to go on the boat and we see a storm coming. And we go to get on. And I'm like, that's, should we be concerned? And the woman's like, well, if they weren't going to take you on the boat if they thought it was going to be safe. But it's not going to be a fun ride. Just prepare. I'm like, oh, let me tell you something. We get on this boat to go back to pick up my kids. And it is rocking. Like I thought we were going to tip over. The tidal wave of just these swells. And Brian is mad because we didn't get there early enough to get a table to be able to play our Uno card game. So he's mad that I delayed us that we could sit. And we're sitting there and I'm barely even able to like not throw up all over everybody that's sitting around me. Like it was so bad. Things were falling and swaying. Those like videos you see on those cruise ships that it was like that. But we weren't, where were we going to go? We had to keep going. I thought I was going to, I had a million panic attacks. Brian's still convinced we were going to play the Uno card game. Like he's still like mad about it. So, anyway, we start to get closer to shore. We get there and it was like the biggest relief that I was like, did I just almost die? Like, so we get the kids. My mom makes this big dinner. We have all this family over. We get back and the dogs are there. We get back in the car and we drive home in this like crazy storm. And we get home at like midnight on that Sunday night. We did all of that just for like a night in Atlantic City. Like what it took for us to get a night away was like planes, trains, and automobiles and a fucking Gilligan's Island type storm where I thought we were just going to capsize and all just die. Like it just felt stressful to have that night. And it just dawned on me and I was like, that's the best we could do. That's like the best we could do. And it's what we did. And that was our celebration. And again, I feel like privileged in being able to say that we had a night out. To be honest, when we're here and home and working all that stuff, we don't go out. We don't have date nights. Like we just don't have like we have a big support system with our like friends and things like that. But we rely on that really, to be honest, for like practice pick up from school, pick up for this and pick up for that. For date nights, we just kind of like call it a day. And I feel like knowing how fast the kids are growing and how fast this whole childhood era is moving, I feel like it's going to be around the corner when they're 18 and out, and then we'll have some time. That's kind of how I feel like it. I feel like a lot of parents might feel this way, where it's like, you just kind of hang on but it was, our anniversary trip was an adventure and it made me realize like, this is how it has to get done.
That's just how it's going to be.
That's how it's going to be. All in all, it's a crazy circus, right? It's just a crazy circus of life.
I love that story because it's kind of a metaphor of what you're going through right now, Shelly. Like you are in the busiest time of the year. You're wrapping it up now, but the past few months you've been nonstop and it's just been like this crazy. So that storm is really representative of your life.
Ride the wave, see it through, and promise to never overschedule myself again, which is like, maybe this is the year I've learned that.
I want to ask you something, Shelly, because I've been working on my gratitude list and my wins list, things that I'm grateful for, and 3 things that I did well yesterday. So tell me, as a mom, what were your wins yesterday? Give me a win.
I'll give you a great win. I have my oldest is just turned 13 and, the hormones are really starting to come out. And I and finding, how much I love like the teenagers and how I'm like, much like Erin Keating said when we had her on our pod, like, I'm really not one of these people who's like, I love teens. I love the discomfort of it, not for them, but I love watching them figure out who they are. And I, but again, I've never had a teenager before. This is the first time. And I'm just seeing signs of it. We're not nearly in the thick of it yet, but there's a lot of pushback at times. And we had a situation where he was speaking to me that in a way that was just like, it was pretty heightened. There's a lot of pushback. And I think at one point he also said something about my cooking, which I was like, I said something about like, it's time to come get dinner. And he was like, fuck your dinner. No, he was you're something about like, you're trash, your dinner's gross. Or like, it was something, he said something about my cooking. And I was like, all these things where I immediately could have been like, what? How rude, And all I said to him was, I would appreciate it if you would pay attention to your tone right now. And I took a deep breath and I walked upstairs, and then I heard him get on his phone. So I walked back downstairs and I said, I need you to hand me your phone. It's time to come up. And I was just exercising a lot of patience, but he came up, and it's like feeling all this turmoil, especially about the cooking thing, because I had made a really good dinner. Like I was like, and also you're fucking lucky that I'm making anything, like we're not Pizza Hut or whatever. Like this is like, I made like a thing. And I was feeling all these things, but I was like, again, trying to really exercise patience around what he was feeling, what he was going through, and just put some boundaries around the tone of voice. But he came up and, I just let it go and moved on, because I realized this is one of like 18,000 moments I'm going to have with both of my boys that I've already had with both of my boys, where I'm going to have to manage my emotions around how they're feeling. And I know that, speaking of storms, like I have to be that calm in a storm that they're feeling every single time. So whatever I need to do to get myself there, I have to do that. If that means I have to like walk away for a minute and come back, fine. But whatever that means, I have to do that. And I have like left the room for a minute and come back without explanation, but just so I can reset. Because I think if I ever get to the point with him where I'm meeting him at his emotional level, which I very easily could, it's just causing drama in the house. I don't want that drama in the house.
Yeah.
I recognize that I have to be that I have to just be a little bit of the calm in that storm. And so I did that, and it was fine. And I was still a little bit like, is my cooking really that bad? Like, I was still like, I was trying to just really allowing the space for him to like feel emotional without feeling judged. And also like, again, giving him a boundary and just being like that, you got to watch your tone. Like you can't talk to people like that. You have to watch your tone, pay attention to it. And moving on. But there will be another situation like that today, because it's just kind of what they're going through. And I'm just going to keep practicing it. So that was, as a mom, that was my major win. And then I got a younger one who already acts like, he's a teenager. So it's like, I feel like it's coming, and I just want to keep exercising that. It's fascinating what they're going through. My gosh.
Yeah.
Fascinating and scary. And I can't imagine what they're feeling. I mean, I can, because I did, but I was a female identifying person who has had different perspectives and all that. I feel for them. And there's a part of that the teen year that I'm just really loving.
I love that. I love the way you handled it. And I love your self-awareness and caution and giving them that space and voice. I've been, really paying attention to my girls and the change that they're going through. And I've realized that if I really want to stay close to my girls, I cannot hide anything from them. I need to be vulnerable in front of them so that they feel safe to be vulnerable in front of me. And that's been the thing that I've been focusing on mostly. And listeners, I think it's important that I bring something up. I have not mentioned it, as of yet on this podcast, but, this story actually is a good lead into this. So I am a newly single mom. This has been a long time coming, without getting into the details of it. It's, my ex and I separated. My gosh, it'll be 2 years ago in a few months. Yeah. And we did stay under the same roof for a year and a half, for many reasons, but also to demonstrate to the girls that we are still a family and that we function differently now. So they're in a good place. They're in a really good place. But my exercise with them as they've been going through this transition hormonally, but also this huge life transition is, like I said, that vulnerability. Now, their dad moved out a couple of months ago. So again, we're going through this change once again. And so I'm hyper aware of what is going on all of the time. And I had this beautiful moment with my daughter the other day where she didn't want to hurt her dad's feelings. But there was something that she wanted and was feeling very torn and very emotional over it. So I took her aside and I said, sweetheart, one thing that I want you to know is that you always have a voice. Not only as a woman in this world, you should always have a voice. But I said, when it comes to the situation with mom and dad, you always have a voice. Now, does your voice need to come out in an angry or, defensive way? No, but you can always speak your mind. And she said, well, if I speak your mind, I said, if there's anything that you want to say to me at some point, but you're afraid that you're going to hurt my feelings, you should just say it, because then it's out there. And then it is my job to figure out how I'm going to react to it. She was like, well, if I don't want to hurt his feelings. And I said, well, then, but that's his problem to have. What it's going to do is it's going to open the room for conversation. The adult is the adult, and you are not going to have control over what the adult decides to say. They might say yes to what you want, or they might say no, but at least you've spoken and you've used your voice. I said, this is going to carry you through your entire life. I said, it took me many, 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 many years to use my voice because I was a people pleaser, and it made me sick, and I said, so I want you to know, and I spoke to my youngest about the same thing too. I said, I just want you to know you always have a voice. Be careful in the way that you use it, but don't ever be afraid to say anything. So that was a really big moment for me. So what ended up happening was she did speak to her dad, and I could hear her crying, and I was so proud because I knew she was using her voice. And he listened, and they ended up finding a midway solution to the problem. And everybody was happier in the end because, of course, he was happy that she was being truthful with him
And opening up and trusting him.
Yeah. So it all worked out really well. So that was a big, big, big win for me.
That's
big win.
Huge, huge. And just female to female and being that example for her. And especially talking about using your voice as a girl and bringing up the people pleasing thing, because that is humongous. And you and I both know that is such a common thing for women and for girls. And you setting that example for her by being it and also carving out the space to talk to her about it, especially amidst all this stuff, and being able to talk to her dad about what she needs. I mean, this is a really big deal. And I'm just so proud of you for navigating that so beautifully. It's just so inspiring. And I think about that from what it must have felt like from her perspective.
Yeah.
How much relief she must have felt. And that conversation creating so much trust between you two and creating so much a place for her and her father to connect on a deeper level. It's amazing. And, you are navigating this whole thing so well.
Thank you.
So well and so beautifully and gracefully. And you're doing such an amazing job with those girls. And also being the calm in the storm.
Creative Mamas Unplugged is produced by Breatheasy Productions with music by Jeremy Jurin. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give my mama 5 stars and keep coming back. Thanks to us kids, there are plenty of stories to tell. And you are not alone. Bye for now.